In this video, we will learn what identifiers are and the rules for creating them in Java. Identifiers are the names that you, the programmer, give for the elements of your code, such as the classes, methods, and the variables. When you choose a name, Java has a set of rules. The names you use can use lower and uppercase letters, digits, underscore, and the $sign. The identifiers, however, can't match the name of a Java reserved keyword. For example, you shouldn't call a variable static or name a class public. Of course, there is no way to memorize all of the Java keywords, and that's why the IDEs, including BlueJ, will help you by highlighting Java keywords as you type them. Also, identifiers can't include a space. If there is a space, Java will treat it as a separator. Although digits are allowed in an identifier, you can't use them as the first character of the identifier. It's also essential to know that identifiers are case sensitive. This means that time with T lowercase and time with T uppercase are two different identifiers. This is excellent to have a wide range of possible identifiers. However, this is also one of the major reasons for errors in Java. For example, let's say you use time with T lowercase instead of time with T uppercase. If the time with T lowercase was not declared in your code, you would get a compile time error. That is easy to identify. It's a bigger problem, however, if you have time with T lowercase and T uppercase declared in your code. It's a bigger problem because the compiler will not complain. After all, both variables were declared. Instead, you would be using the wrong value and end up with a logical error, which is harder to find and fix. Other than these rules, Java doesn't really enforce any other rules about the choice of your identifier names. There are other sets of naming conventions, however, that were created by the developing community. These naming conventions are not mandatory, and if violated, Java compiler will not complain. For example, programmers agreed that variable names should be short and meaningful. This means that instead of calling your variable that will store the distance as x, you should call it distance. The variable could consist of multiple words. For example, if I have an application that has two distance variables, one in meters and the other is in miles, using distance as the name variable can be confusing. Instead, it would help if you use something like distance in meters and distance in miles. In general, variable names should be all lowercase if it's a single word. If it consists of multiple words, then the first word will be all lowercase and any subsequent word should be capitalized. Similar rules apply to the identifiers for methods, except that the identifier should be a verb. Remember, the goal of methods is to operate on the object's attributes. Since they operate on it, they should be described using verbs. For example, set gross pay, calculate rate. As for classes, the identifier should be a noun that describes the object. For example, employee, pay stub, or classroom, and so on. Identifiers used with classes should be capitalized. If multiple words are used, every word should be capitalized. This style is usually referred to as the camel case style.